This is Wednesday Night Worship, a full training series built to help you train your worship team in a small to mid-sized church, and only using inexpensive gear and your X32 or M32. In this video, we're going to talk about acoustic guitar, what makes the acoustic sound good in a church mix, how to adjust the acoustic playing style that fits the arrangement, and how to get great tone using a super inexpensive setup. You don't need an expensive guitar, you don't need the greatest console, you just have to know what actually matters in the mix. So here's the song that we're about to build.
You are worthy of it all. 'Cause you are worthy of it all.
This is part 1 of 6 of the Wednesday Night Worship series that's already available inside my X32 Starter Pack. So if you want access to this plus hours of other lessons and the console presets that I'm using in this video, just hit the link below, sign up there. Now let's get started. Okay, so our acoustic setup is my $300 20 years ago Alvarez. I don't even know what it is. I'm not much of a guitar head. I don't know much about what it actually is. I've got the LR Baggs Anthem in here. It is there's 2 versions of it. It's the one that doesn't have the blend knob. It's just you turn it up. There is a blend, but you got to use like a screwdriver to get to it. I think it's set about 50-50, the microphone and then the saddle thing here. So it's a very basic setup. And from there, plug straight into this Whirlwind passive DI, not even a nice DI at all. And so then that is all going through the acoustic preset in the X32 Starter Pack, and the reverb is the auxiliary reverb. I believe I got the plate reverb. Yeah, using the plate setting on here. Really, the entire scene is just my basic console setup that's in the X32 Starter Pack. So that's what's going on the board, but we're talking about the actual instrument stuff today. So we're going to get going on that. As much as a lot of people probably wouldn't want to admit, the acoustic guitar, especially in small to mid-sized churches, is still the driving instrument for worship teams. Most of the time, the worship leader either has an acoustic guitar, is playing one, or the driving instrument in the band is an acoustic guitar. And the reality of that is it's probably because a lot of people play it. And so it makes it very easy for that to be the driving factor. And I don't think that's really bad. I don't think that's a bad thing. Whenever you look at a lot of popular music now, the acoustic isn't really the driving factor a lot of times. It's present, but it's not the main instrument. And so what I think a lot of times happens in those small to mid-sized churches especially is you have someone that can play an acoustic guitar. And for lack of a nicer way of saying it, that's about as far as it goes. They can play it. And notoriously, acoustic guitars plugged straight into a system don't sound all that great. If you compare the sound of an actual guitar being played in front of you versus plugged in like a DI, a lot of times it's not the best sounding thing. And so what you're stuck with is a lackluster instrument being played at a very average level, and that's the main instrument driving the music. But then we expect to sound like what we hear on the radio, and that's just not reality. But I'm here to tell you, you can still have great sound even under all those conditions. I preach all the time to the worship team at my church that I can't perform a miracle. When we're dialing in a tone, really all we're doing is uncovering what is there. And so my goal for this is to show you how you can take an extremely basic setup, and then by partnering with the person playing it, you can have a pretty good sound. And to be honest, the majority of that is in the arrangement and how the person is playing. So we're going to run down this song, and I will show you how I take the setup, never change a setting. We're not going to change any settings the whole time, but I'm going to show you how, as a player, you can partner with the sound person and set yourself up for success through the soundboard. A lot of times in an acoustic set or in a full band set, you will lead into the song with a very, a thoughtful chorus, a chorus that the people can jump in and sing with, and that really lays the foundation for the song moving forward. And I think it's extremely important. It's critically important in this that we don't get in our own heads as musicians by trying to be overly ambient, to be creating this moment necessarily. What I like to view this as getting them on board with the song that you're about to lead. give them an opportunity to jump in and sing with you. And you do that by first establishing a tempo. I'm huge on not leading into a song without a click, without at least setting the tempo. If you don't play with a click track, that's fine. But set your tempo that you're going to be playing and singing at, because a lot of times what happens on stage, we'll get caught up with our singers where the singers are struggling to sing with each other. Okay, well, you in theory are the most experienced people, musicians in the room, and you're struggling. Now imagine Joe Schmo or whatever out in the crowd trying to sing with you, and he's not a musician. So I think it's extremely important to make it easy to sing with. And so in this particular song, what I did is I thought I would set this where I want it to be down. I want it to be a down, calm chorus. But what I'm going to do is I'll finger pick through this. By the way, we're in G here, so. So we're just taking it at a very kind of chill thing here, but you can immediately hear the 10, 2, 3, 4, 2, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 2, 2. And it's extremely easy. They know where you're at. It's not where you're going. You know, you're not doing all these little ambient things. You immediately tell them this is how fast we're going to start. And so from there, let's just jump right in, and I will have the acoustic. This is the actual recording, and I'll just play my voice and the guitar.
You're worthy of it all. You're worthy of it all. For from you are all things.
And so what I did, one thing I like to do is also change up within basic chord voicings there. We're not going to do any like complicated things, because what I really like to be mindful of with these settings is that we are creating something a lot of times with novice guitar players. And so throwing in complicated chord voicings, I don't even think it's necessary. I don't think it's necessary to overcomplicate things. The point is what is simple to listen to. And so for this, I'm just playing your G where you're just holding it down, and then just the other strings, muting the A string there. And then we're gonna go down to whatever that D inversion there is. I don't remember. And so it's just a simple chord voice. And so that's really the first section here. And I'm just playing some simple finger picking on the tempo. And so moving forward from there, let's just find a spot.
And all the saints
Through verse 1.
Angels, they bow God and sing crowns before the Lamb of God and sing, you're worthy of it all, as you're worthy of it all.
And right there is something that I feel like is missed. A lot of times we will blame bad sound on bad arrangements. And what I think is happening there is we set ourselves up where this is the lowest we're going to go. What a lot of times I see, especially in the smaller churches, is that song would have been started with a pick going. In all the saints and with the full D shape here. Bow before your throne. Lots of movement, lots of that. Playing your full C chord and hammering out those G chords. On that kind of tempo, if we set ourselves up and this is the lowest we're going to go, well then whenever we move to that next section, singing, I'm just playing with my thumb there. And the point is, it's gonna bring up that the rhythm there. It's just gonna start filling out a little bit. So in context there, what that does is it takes it. Oh, I was on the chorus. I was singing the verse there, but anyway.
And all the elders cast their crowns before the Lamb of God and sing,
And break.
You are worthy of it all. As you are worthy of it all.
And when you do, when you start to bring up that that rhythm there, when you start taking that steady strum, we're not going. There's zero accents. We're not accenting anything. And I really love that because it leaves the rhythm and the accents to other things. Um, I think a lot of times what can happen is the acoustic is slightly out of time. I mean, you're singing, you're engaging the crowd, you're not going to be perfect. And so when that becomes such a dominant accent figure in the arrangement, it starts sounding loose. It starts messing other things up. And so I really like taking that just chill, steady strumming pattern there. Doing that. And so from there, it takes a lot of listening and trusting your band members to be there for you. That you aren't going to be left high and dry. It's going to sound really empty and all. We're making space for other things. So let's move on a little bit.
You deserve the glory.
And I forgot to note here, I also wanted to say,
And all the God and sing, You are worthy of it all.
bottom line right there, you don't have to play the entire time. You can let it breathe. And I think that letting that God and sing, you are worthy of it all, letting that just ring out and let there be that gap. Now it's so much more meaningful when the bass starts sliding in, when the piano part comes in. It makes that stuff impact and have that much more, life on it. So that's just one thing to note. Make space for those breaks, and it'll make stuff mean a lot more when it happens. So we hang on that for a minute. Let's jump ahead now. So just the voice and acoustic.
Oh, you deserve the glory. We're singing,
And now what happened here is rather than continuing just with my thumb, I wanted to add a little bit more to it. So when we go to that C, that 4, and then the 5, I just start using my fingernail a little bit. So we take it of God, or you deserve the glory, and start bringing in my fingernail a little bit. And and it just adds a little bit more texture to it, a little bit more of an accent that's going to cut through the stuff that's happening there. But still, we're not accenting anything. Every strum I'm shooting for being the same volume. I'm not perfect, but the goal is that it's just this steady dun, 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 through the whole song. Well, whole song, at least through these sections. So that is with the fingernail. Now let's see, that just continues on.
Saints and angels.
I can tell it's a little sloppy. It's my play. I can tell there it's still a little sloppy, and that to me it sounds like I'm still on my fingernail there. And I believe now let's jump to the end of that verse.
Crowns before the Lamb of God and sing,
Break.
You are worthy of it all. 'Cause you are worthy of it all.
Okay, so the same thing, I let that ring out, and partially because during that time I was picking up the pick. And one other thing there is that gives me an opportunity to add in just another subtle change, and that is bringing in whatever note that is. I don't remember. I'm tuned a little funny right here. So rather than playing just that very basic one note G there with the B string open, it allows me to bring in that D. And so what I do there is I've got that added in, and basically I'm just strumming out a little bit harder, but still steady. So it's a little more of a full chord there. Okay, so we're not taking it, we're not going. We're just taking it so steady. All right, moving on.
And for from you are all things, and to you are all things. You deserve the glory. Yes, you do, Jesus. You're worthy of it all.
Okay, and so through that section, you can tell the acoustic isn't the driving factor. It's not the main thing, but it could be, is the thing. With this setup, I'm really thinking, what could I remove at times? And it would be fine. It would be fine for a good, solid worship set that's engaging. And I think that playing it that way is really just a safe bet that a lot of a lot of players will undervalue the simplicity. That you have to have a little bit of faith that your sound team is going to have that full sound, that you will have the tones right, but then also that if the volume is set correctly, you can lay back a little bit more. So, and I know a lot of times that volume comes at it as out of insecurity, where I've got to hammer this out. I don't know if I'm being heard. And I get that. I really get that you need it to sound full in your monitor, in your in-ears, whatever you're using. But a lot of times that's at the actual expense of your tone and at the expense of the mix. And so having a little bit of confidence, sitting back, and really trying to serve the parts around you and not make one thing the main thing. So let's move on to the very end. And I think that basically we ride that out to the very end. You can hear I'm hammering a little
'Cause
harder.
you are worthy of it all. And for from you are all things, and to you are all things. 'Cause you deserve the glory. You're worthy of it all. You're worthy of it all. For from.
And there, whenever you die down, a lot of times what we'll do is we'll hit those down sections.
'Cause you deserve the glory.
And everyone just stops playing. And so I think one thing that it can really help a lot of situations like that is when we hit, we go,
You deserve the glory.
because a lot of times it's not actually about the notes we're playing there. It's keeping that energy up. Even though our volume's going to drop, the arrangement's going to be sparse, everything's going to die down. We don't want it to feel like everyone stopped playing. There's a difference there. There's a difference between letting it breathe, letting it chill out, and maybe become a little more reflective, whatever word we want to use there. But that doesn't mean that the energy itself has to die and that it has to sound like, oh, the song's over. Does that make sense? If we take it, we're strumming, everyone's all in,
Deserve the glory.
the audience can jump right back in and keep singing with you.
You're worthy of it all.
Because the tempo never changed, the feel never actually really changed all that much. It just continued to move on and move forward. So that's 99% of my philosophy on acoustic guitar in any mix. Don't make it the primary accent feature of the song. Don't make it a secondary snare drum. It doesn't serve it doesn't work well. It doesn't serve the song typically all that well. But if you can treat it as like a shaker or a tambourine or a rhythmic element that sort of just that propels the song forward, I think that's where it's best served. And you can do that all while playing basic chord shapes. I mean, always improve, always look for new chords, but in the end, a lot of it can actually really be very basic because the acoustic doesn't fill as much of the sonic space as people give it credit for. And so we play these big full chords for the entire song, but it really doesn't fill up that much. And so what it ends up doing is muddying up things. All right, I hope this has been helpful. In the next one, we're going to talk about the bass on this, and that we're going to talk about some different elements. That's a different mindset. It's a different beast to tackle, but I think it's going to help you. So subscribe, and I will see you in the next one.